When it comes to dishing out damage and keeping allies alive, no hero does it better than Moira. Join us as we unravel the secrets of Overwatch's most powerful support character and see just truly how strong Moira is on the battlefield. Fellas, gonna keep it an absolute buck with ya. I've been giving Moira a second chance lately. Couple months ago, I wouldn't be saying this. Moira honestly wasn't the best character. I wasn't that big of a fan of her. But now that I'm starting to play her a little more, you know what? My opinion's starting to change a little more. Not gonna lie, it's starting to change a bit. Couple months ago, I was going off on a rant how Moira should not be played as a DPS character. But to be honest, I've been playing her a little bit more lately, and I honestly think Moira is more suited as a DPS than a support. Okay, obviously that was an obvious bait, but hear me out for a second. Moira is probably one of the best characters in the entire game for climbing out of low elo as a support main. Think about it, your kit literally has everything you need to solo carry as a support. You have the occasional healing orb thrown out to your teammates, you know, spray your heals here and there, but the most important part is the amount of damage you do with your damage orb and your biotic grasp. I'll let you fellas in on a little secret to rank up with Moira. All you have to do, throw your damage orb into the backline, you know, walk on in there, save your shift, start using your grasp on one of the supports, they turn around, shift away, and just rinse and repeat until you kill the supports. Moira honestly has a very simplistic playstyle. It's actually really good and effective for climbing on a low elo. And the main reasons for this is because you're a self-sufficient character, so you don't have to rely on your teammates to get kills or heal you. Not only this, if you're very evasive in the backline, you can get multiple kills, multiple 1v1 solo kills. Most of the time, you're ending the game with the most eliminations and also the most damage in the entire game. I'm not gonna lie, anybody can learn how to play Moira in just a few games. One thing that I found that worked well for me though, before even starting any game as Moira, go into your controls and switch your primary fire with your secondary fire. This is gonna make it so your damage orb and also your biotic grasp is on your primary fire, so basically what you use to shoot normally with other characters, and then your right click will be your healing juice instead. Now, why is Moira so effective at lower ranks and not so much the higher ones? One of Moira's main strengths is her flanking ability. She's able to get on the enemy backlines very easily, and most of the time in lower ranks, nobody is communicating. So before the team fight even begins, you'll be able to pick off one of the enemy supports, or at least distract them for most of the team fight while the rest of your team finishes off the remaining targets. This is one of many ways Moira can actually provide value. You can also play her as a healer, but I don't recommend doing that as DPS is way more fun, and honestly I find it way easier to carry games because you can actually just get kills on your own. Her primary fire does a surprising amount of damage, and most people in lower ranks, they can't really aim all that well, so you can just dodge around them, be evasive, and they can't really play. Now, when we get into higher ranks, Moira does not work as effectively because she doesn't provide the utility that other supports do. For example, a character such as Kiriko or Ana provide a cleanse and anti-grenade respectively, which will allow your team to get those finishing blows when needed to. But Moira has strengths of her own. The first thing I want to mention is she's probably one of the most self-sufficient heroes in the entire game, using Moira's primary attack, Biotic Grasp, allowing her to deal damage to enemies while also restoring her own health. This makes her incredibly self-sufficient and difficult to take down in one-on-one fights. Not to mention, Moira's ultimate is an excellent defensive ultimate that unleashes a beam of healing energy that can also pass through multiple allies and enemies. This makes it an excellent tool for saving low health tanks, dealing damage to high priority targets, or even pushing your team through choke points when necessary.
But Halzeey, what about those Moiras that never heal me?
Listen fellas, I know there's another side of the argument, you know, Moira should be played as a support, healing up your team, but to be honest, I'm completely DPS Moira pilled. I think support Moira is not good at all. If you just play her as a DPS, you'll win significantly more games. You have to think about her heals for a second. First of all, you don't even get an infinite amount of heals. It's based off a resource system, so you have to charge up based off the amount of damage you're doing with your Biotic Grasp. The next thing, Moira's heals are very short range in comparative to other supports. Now, I know the argument's there that you can provide long range healing with your healing orb, but to be honest, it travels very slow, and by the time it reaches your teammate from far range, more than likely they're either going to be dead, not needing the heals anymore, or by the time it reaches them, they're not even going to be in a spot where the heal is going to be able to reach them. And I think for that reason alone, yes, Moira is good at healing big AoE groups. If your team is clumped up together, yes, it's good to throw a little bit of your spray in there. But for the most part, as Moira, you're kind of a lone wolf. You just go in their backline by yourself, and you're either going to end up with 2 to 3 kills or get slept by their Ana into getting Hanzo arrowed. Now, on screen now is what your Moira stats should look like near the end of the game. The way to tell if you're doing a good job as Moira is making sure your biotic orb healing is 0 and you only have biotic orb kills. And all you have to do to see the stat, just hit tab when you're in game, it'll pull up the scoreboard and it's just on the right side there for you. I'm not even trolling either, like I'm pretty sure Moira is just better as a DPS. In my opinion, over the past few months, I think Moira's risen up the tier list as well. She got a buff recently as well, and I just think she's overall in a strong spot right now. The buffs that Moira received is dealing damage with Biotic Orb now restores a small amount of biotic energy, so this was a few months ago when they extremely buffed Junker Queen. And then with the Season 3 patch reducing the ultimate cost by 5%. And the current meta right now I think really suits Moira. She isn't really a weak pick, and you can play her in almost any situation. Obviously, there's times when you shouldn't go a specific character, for example, if they have a Reinhardt or a Winston or something just to get on you. For example, if they have a hero like Genji, you instantly go Moira and Genji just can't play the game. So funny, Genji will literally dive in with his Dragon Blade. Oh, guess what? I just phase away, you can't really touch me. Obviously, unless you don't have phase and he just gets on you and he insta-kills you. But most of the time you can just fight back, throw your damage orb, start using your primary fire, shift away. As much as I'm talking about DPS Moira right now, I think it has to be said that her healing output is actually crazy. The speed she can heal up an entire team is absolutely ridiculous. If your entire team is clumped up and you have full healing charge, you literally just spray it everywhere and your entire team will be full HP. To be honest, it's actually kind of crazy how Moira's allowed to do this, just run around in low elo and just do this to people. I think we have to also appreciate all the TikTok Moira memes that come from this character. Now, I'm not going to show you any of these TikTok Moira clips as I don't want any of your data to get mined by the Chinese spies. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts down below on Moira. I feel like she's one of those characters where you hate her, you hate playing against her, you like playing against her, you like having her on your team, or you're just absolutely crazy at playing her. Moira got that love-hate type of relationship, you know, got that positive and negative on her orbs. Like, there's just no in between for Moira. You either hate her or you love her. That's just how it be. What do you guys think about Moira? Does she need to get nerfed? Does she need to get buffed? How should you be playing her? Like I was saying, my opinion, I think DPS is probably the way to go right now. I just think it's more practical and actually useful. Obviously, it's nice to heal your team by supporting them, but in reality, if you're low elo and you're trying to climb, just DPSing the backline, attacking the enemy supports is probably the best way to go about it. Anyways, if you liked the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe. My name is Halzeey, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.